Chapter 20. Fred had warned me. He had, but as it turned out, he had wasted his breath. We were driving down the crater road and went from Jalalabad to Kabul. The last time I traveled that road was in covered trail going the other way. Baba had nearly gotten himself shot by a singing, stunned Rusi officer. Baba had made me so mad that night, so scared, and ultimately so proud. The trek between Kabul and Jalalabad, a fun harrowing ride down a tearing pass snaking through the rocks, had become a relic now. The relic of 2 wars, 20 years earlier. I had seen some of the first war with my own eyes. Grim reminders of it were strewn along the road, running carcasses and old Soviet tanks, overturned military trucks gone to rust, a crushed Russian jeep that had plugged over the mountainside. The Second War, I had watched it on TV screen, and now I had seen it through third eyes. Steering effortlessly around potholes in the middle of the broken road, Fred was a man in his element. He had become much character since our overnight stayed at Hyde's house. He had me sit in the passenger seat and look at me when he spoke. He even smiled once or twice. Moreover, in the steering wheel is in the mangled hand. He pointed to mud-hut villages among the way where no people years before. Most of those people, he'd said, were either dead or in refugee camps in Pakistan. And sometimes the dead are luckier, he said. He pointed to the crumbled, charred remains of the tiny village. It was just a tub of blanketed, roofless walls now. I saw a dog sleeping along one of the walls. I had a friend there once, Farid said. He was a very good bicycle repairman. He played the tabla well too. The Taliban killed him and his family and burned the village. He drove past the burning village and the dog didn't move. In the old days, the driving from Jalalabad to Kabul took 2 hours, maybe a little more. It took Farid and me over 4 hours to reach Kabul, and when we did, Farid warned me just after we passed Mahipur Dam. Kabul is not the way you remember it, he said. So I hear. Farid gave me a look that said hearing is not the same as seeing, and the way was right, because the Kabul finally didn't roll before us, and it's certain, absolutely certain, that he had taken a wrong turn somewhere. Farid must have seen stupefied expressions shuttling people backwards to Kabul. He would have become familiar with that expression on the faces of those who had seen Kabul for a long time. He'd patted me on the shoulder. Welcome back, he said morosely. Rumble and beggars. Everywhere I looked, that was I saw. I remember beggars in the old days too. Baba always carried an extra handful of Afghani bills in the pocket just for them. I'd never seen the night of peddler. Now though, they square every street corner, dressed in the excreted burlap rags, mud-caked, hand held out of the coin. On the guards were mostly children now, seeing the grim face, some no older than 5 or 6. They sat in the lamps of their clad mothers alongside gutters at busy street corners and catened. And some else, something I had noticed right away. Harley and them sat with an adult male. The wars had made the fathers a rare commodity in Afghanistan. We were driving westbound toward the Kartin Shah district on what I remember as Major Thoroughfare in the 70s. Jaden May want just north of us. was the boundary Kabul River. On the hills of the south stood broken old city wall. Just east of it was the Valhalla Heister Fort, the ancient citadel that the warlord Dostum had kept in 1992. On the chart was a mountain range, the same mountain from forest that shows Kabul in the rocket between 1992 and 1996 inflict much of the damage I witnessing now. The Chitwasara range skirted all the way west. It was from those mountains that I remember the firing of the known cannon. It went off every day, announced noon time, and also in the singular end of the daylight facing during the month of Radam. Rode here the roar of cannon and all throughout the seer in those days. I used to come here to Hadeh Maiwand when I was kid, a murder. There used to be shops here and hotels, now lights and restaurants, and I used to buy kites from an old man named Seifo. He ran a little kite shop by an old police headquarters. The police headquarters is still there, let's say. No shortage of the police in the city, but you won't find kites or kite shops on Hadeh Mayward or anywhere else in Kabul. Those days are over. Hadeh Maywand had turned into the Gitane Sand Castle. The building that had entirely collapsed barely stood with the caveat in roof and walls spruced with dragon's shell. Entire blocks had obliterated rubble. I saw a bullet pocket side half buried at an angle in heap of debris. It read, "Drink Coca-Cola." I saw children playing in the ruins of a windowless building saying, Hayat stumps of brick and stone, bicycles and mule-drawn cars strode around kids, stray dogs, and piles of debris. The haze of dust hovered over the city and across the river. A single pummel, a smoke rose up to the sky. Where are the trees? I said. People cut them down to firewood in the winter, Fred said. They cut a lot of them down too. Why? The spine pursues to hiding them. A sadness came over me. Returning to Kabul was like running to an old forgotten friend and seeing that life hadn't been good to him. That he had become homeless and destitute. My father built an orphanage in the old street south of here. I said, I remember it, for he said, it was destroyed a few years ago. Can you pull over? I said, I want to take a quick walk there. Fred parked along the curb on a small back street next to Ramshackle, a fountain building with no door. That used to be a pharmacy. Fred murdered as we exited the truck. We walked to the Maywand and turned right, heading west. What's that smell? I said. Something was making my eyes water. Diesel, Fred replied. The series generation are always going down, so electricity is reliable, and the people use diesel fuels. Diesel, remember what these streets smelled like in the old days? Fred smiled. Kaboop. Lamp, Kabul, I said. Lamp, Fred said, tasting the word in his mouth. The only people in Kabul who get to it, lamp, now are the Taliban. He pulled on the sleeves, speaking on which a vehicle was approaching us, bird patrol, Fred murder. That was the first time I saw the Taliban. I'd see them on TV, on the internet, on the cover of magazines, on the newspaper, but here I was now, less than 50 feet from them, telling myself that the sudden taste in my mouth wasn't unadulterated, naked fear, telling myself my flesh had suddenly shrunk against the bones, and my heart wasn't battering. Here they came, in all their glory, directed at a picked-up truck idled past us. A handful of stern-faced young men sat on their haunches in the cab. Kalashnikovs slung on their shoulders. They all wore birds' black turbans. One of them, a drunk naked man in his early 20s with thick, naked eyebrows, twirled a whip in his hand, and rhythmically swayed the side of the truck with it. His roaming eyes found me, held my gaze. I'd never felt so naked in my eyes' entire life. Then the tall stopped, tobacco-stained, spiraled and looked away. I found a cold breath again. The truck rolled down the hadn't may want, leaving in the trail of the cloud of dust. What is the matter with you, Fred? He said. What? Don't ever stare at them. Do you understand me? Never. I didn't mean to, I said. Your friend is quite right, Gaga. You might as well poke a rabid dog with a stick, someone said. These, my new views, belong to an old bigard sitting barefoot on the steps of a boldly square building. He wore a threadbare chaperon, whom the fray skirt and the crusted turban. His left light dropped over an empty socket with an arthritic hand. He pointed to the direction the red dog had done. They drive around looking at the hoping that someone will provoke them. Sooner or later someone always obliges. Then the dog's face and the days buried them in breaking at last, and everyone says. And on those days when no one offends, well, there is always random violence, isn't there? Keep your eyes on your feet when the Talibs are near, Ford said. Your friend dispenses good advice. The old beggar chimed in. The barricade and white cuff spat-soled handkerchief. Forgive me, but could you spare a few Afghans? He breathed. Vas, let's go, Fred said, pulling me by the arm. I handed the old man 100,000 Afghanis, or the equivalent of about $3. When he leaned forward to take the money, his step, like sour milk and feet, hadn't been washed in weeks, flared my nostrils and made my gorge rise. They hardly slept, the mountain in his waist, his lonely eyes darting side to side. A word of thanks for your benevolence, Aghan Sahib. Do you know where the orphanage in Kartensek? I said. It is not hard to find. It is just west of Darmstadt Boulevard, he said. The children were moved from here to Kartensek after the rockets hit the old orphanage, which is like saving some of the lion's cage and throwing them into the tigers. Thank you, Aga, I said, murdered to go. That was your first time, Nai? I'm sorry. I'm sorry? The first time you saw Talib. I said nothing. The old beggar nodded and smiled, revolved a handful of remanded thick and crude gel. I remember the first time I saw them rolling in Kabul. Was a JoJo's day that was, he said. An end on the killing. Wah, wah, but like the poet says, how seamless seemed love, and then came trouble. A smile sprout on my face. I know that's, yes, it is, indeed. The old man replied, I shouldn't know. I used to teach it at the university. You did?